Welcome to Shadow Lore, where we delve into the most intriguing and significant events in history. If you enjoy our content, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the past. Hit the notification bell to stay updated on our latest releases. Today, we explore a pivotal moment in World War II, the beginning of Operation Barbarossa. On June 22, 1941, Nazi Germany launched a massive invasion of the Soviet Union, marking one of the largest military operations in history. This audacious campaign aimed to crush the Soviet Union and secure Lebensraum, or living space, for the German people. Named after Frederick Barbarossa, the medieval Holy Roman Emperor, the operation symbolized the Nazi vision of conquest and dominance. Operation Barbarossa was meticulously planned, involving over 3 million Axis troops across three army groups: North, Center, and South. These forces were equipped with the latest in German military technology, including tanks, artillery, and aircraft. The plan was simple yet ambitious: to advance swiftly, encircle and destroy Soviet forces, and reach the key cities of Leningrad, Moscow, and Kiev within a matter of months. The attack commenced with a brutal Blitzkrieg, or lightning war, characterized by rapid, coordinated strikes designed to break through enemy defenses with speed and surprise. On the first day, the German Wehrmacht launched a massive assault across a 2,900-kilometer front. The skies filled with the roar of German bombers, while the ground shook under the advance of panzer divisions, their tracks cutting through the vast Soviet plains. For the Soviets, the invasion was a catastrophic shock. The Red Army, still reeling from purges and unprepared for such a scale of warfare, found itself overwhelmed. The initial days of the invasion saw horrific losses, with Soviet defenses crumbling under the relentless onslaught. Cities like Smolensk and Minsk fell rapidly, and the Wehrmacht's advance seemed unstoppable. The strategic goals of Operation Barbarossa were grand. Army Group North, under Field Marshal Wilhelm Ritter von Leeb, was to advance through the Baltic states and capture Leningrad. Army Group Center, led by Field Marshal Fedor von Bock, aimed to advance towards Moscow. Meanwhile, Army Group South, commanded by Field Marshal Gerd von Rundstedt, targeted Ukraine, with its rich agricultural lands and vital industrial regions. Despite the initial success, the German advance soon encountered significant obstacles. The vastness of the Soviet Union's territory, combined with the determined Soviet resistance, began to slow the German momentum. The harsh Russian winter and the resilience of the Soviet people began to turn the tide. In Leningrad, the German siege trapped over 1 million civilians in a frozen hellscape. The city's defenders, inspired by the indomitable will of its residents, held out against starvation and relentless bombardment for nearly 900 days. Meanwhile, in Moscow, the Soviet counteroffensive, launched in December 1941, pushed the German forces back, marking the first major defeat for the Nazis on the Eastern Front. The failure to capture Moscow marked a turning point. Hitler's insistence on continuing the campaign, despite growing logistical issues and harsh winter conditions, stretched German supply lines to breaking point. The Soviet Union, bolstered by the sheer scale of its manpower and resources, began to reclaim lost ground. The tide of war turned irrevocably against the Third Reich. Operation Barbarossa, initially a symbol of Nazi military might, ultimately became a graveyard for German ambition. The Soviet Union's ability to absorb immense losses, coupled with the brutal winter and tenacious defense, shifted the balance of power. This campaign, which began with such bold aspirations, ended with the Wehrmacht in retreat, and the Red Army advancing towards Berlin. The human cost of Operation Barbarossa was staggering. Millions of soldiers and civilians perished, and countless villages and towns lay in ruins. The war on the Eastern Front had turned into one of the bloodiest chapters in human history, illustrating the devastating consequences of total war. The initial German strategy had been predicated on the assumption that the Soviet Union would collapse under the pressure of a swift, concentrated attack. However, this underestimation of Soviet resilience proved to be a critical miscalculation. The Soviet people, driven by a fierce patriotism and the brutal leadership of Stalin, mounted a defense that was as unyielding as it was desperate. Stalin's infamous, scorched earth policy left nothing of value for the advancing Germans. This, combined with the ruthless winter, created supply problems that the Wehrmacht had not anticipated. The vast distances of the Soviet Union's terrain, combined with its severe weather, created a logistical nightmare for the German forces. Their supply lines were overextended, and the harsh winter weather wreaked havoc on both men and machinery. In Leningrad, the German siege trapped over 1 million civilians in a frozen hellscape. The city's defenders, inspired by the indomitable will of its residents, held out against starvation and relentless bombardment for nearly 900 days. Meanwhile, in Moscow, the Soviet counteroffensive, launched in December 1941, pushed the German forces back, marking the first major defeat for the Nazis on the Eastern Front. The turning point in Moscow demonstrated the effectiveness of the Soviet military's strategic depth and ability to mobilize reserves. Soviet resilience was further demonstrated during the Battle of Stalingrad, which began in August 1942 and ended in February 1943. This battle, often regarded as one of the deadliest in history, saw the complete encirclement and destruction of the German Sixth Army. The human cost of Operation Barbarossa was staggering. Millions of soldiers and civilians perished, and countless villages and towns lay in ruins. The war on the Eastern Front had turned into one of the bloodiest chapters in human history, illustrating the devastating consequences of total war. The aftermath of Operation Barbarossa had far-reaching consequences. The failure of the German campaign marked the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany. The Soviet Union, galvanized by its victory, went on the offensive, pushing German forces back all the way to Berlin. The defeat also exposed the limitations of Blitzkrieg, highlighting the importance of logistics, resource management, and the indomitable spirit of a nation defending its homeland. Today, the legacy of Operation Barbarossa serves as a somber reminder of the horrors of war. It highlights the resilience of the human spirit, and the profound impact of ideological fanaticism. As we reflect on these events, we honor the memories of those who fought and suffered, reminding ourselves of the importance of peace, and the enduring struggle against tyranny. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of history's most significant and tragic campaigns. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more documentaries that explore the depths of our past. Until next time, keep history alive.